Good day. This is Prophetess Shon Lewis. I want to talk today briefly to you about let God open your eyes. Stop being blind in the church. This is a prophetic word, and this is something that so many of you need this word because some of you have gone through many years of wasted time. And it's because you've either gotten used to a certain leader in your life, in the church, that may have done things for you, to help you with your family, your basic needs, may have even led you to Christ in the past. But when you see that a person is becoming fleshly or corrupt, or they're not keeping up with the times, or they're negative, and they're praying and speaking, God's going to do this for you and God's going to do that, and you never see the results, and they're struggling, listen, the writing is on the wall. You need to open your eyes and move on. And there is a proper way to leave a leadership in the church without you being disrespectful. And I talk about that in my books and in some of my previous teachings. But God wants you to get this word because some of you today are struggling with this, and this is your word. This is your answer. You need to get out of negative leadership. There's true leaders out here, but it's rare. But some of you, you're depressed, you're not going anywhere. And the reason why you're not going anywhere is because you've been loyal to a person instead of God. I had to learn this the hard way. I went through this in my earlier years, and it's been years that God delivered me from the wrong leadership. And I've been around and seen different leaders in the church. And the ones that were negative, God had me move on. I have no grudge. I have no, animosity toward them. And I won't even blast their name. I don't have to. But people need to stop, wasting time. There's things God wants you to do. There's things and places and assignments that God has for you, but you're following the wrong person and they're going nowhere. They're limited. They won't travel. They talk against social media as far as getting the word of Christ out. They're still stuck in old times. God bless them. But if you're putting yourself and you have a family in this situation, I'm telling you right now, you are hurting your destiny. When God delivered me from negative leadership years ago and began to bless me to grow in Him and show me what my assignments were on this earth, I began to be more blessed and thrive. I did better when I got away from negative leadership. God wants you to honor leaders, absolutely. But sometimes it's a season for you to be with a certain leader. God didn't say that you have to be with a certain leader forever. You can honor them forever, but that's not always the case for people who God has other things to do. And the person that they're under, as far as leadership, is going nowhere. There's more to being a Christian than just salvation. God has work for us to do. For some of you, it may be local. For some of you, it may be international. But you need your own relationship with God. And then you need godly counsel from people who are proven in the gospel, for people who you see the fruits of their walk with God that's successful. You don't stay in bondage and stay in the same old, and you're getting older. You're not getting anything done. You're really not effective in the kingdom. No, it's time for you to move on, sir. It's time for you to move on, ma'am. Don't feel bad. It's a new day. God wants you to get greater things going on in your life. God wants you to be elevated. God wants you to thrive. God wants you in a new season. And so you have to have wisdom if you're exiting a old ministry. But you don't just stay there and just watch life go by. And if you have children and family, they're suffering with you and you waste time. This almost happened to me personally, but I'm so glad God opened my eyes and showed me, I know you love this person or these people in leadership, but somewhere along the line, they stopped listening to me. They got stuck. And you have to move on with your life respectfully. And so I want some of you, if God leads you, to get your copy of my book, Don't Play Church. I also wrote a book called Liberated from Church Hurt. Listen, I wrote these books a few years ago because I struggled with moving on and letting God redirect my life or re-GPS my life into greater and better. And I had to get through a lot of emotions. I had to get through, adjusting to new places and new people, but you can do it. And then I wrote Untraumatized. This is my award-winning book. It's available where books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's also an audiobook. And this book really, God taught me how to heal, not just from church hurt, but other crises that I experienced that had nothing to do with the church. But when I was trying to present what I was going through to some people in the church, they weren't equipped to help someone in mental, stress, because some people in the church demonize that. And that's a whole nother subject. You shouldn't. I am a trauma counselor, and people need to be able to come to the church to be healed from mental illness, period. And so if you want to get a copy about mental health and spiritual growth, this is another book that I wrote. Available where books are sold. I'm telling you, blessing people across the world. I usually do book signings for some of these books, and they have blessed people across the world. So you can read my devotionals inspired by God and also be empowered when you're drinking your coffee or your tea in your quiet time with God, and just learn and read my testimony of how God delivered me, gave me insight, and prophetically showed me a better way. So be encouraged today. If you're under a great leader and things is going well and you're thriving, great. But make sure that doctrine is right, that they're teaching. Make sure that you're not, being delayed, that you're not, being envied, that you're not, being condemned, and you're not being held back. Keep God in your life first over people. And then seek for godly, prosperous people in God who've been proven to live a holy life. People make mistakes. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are stable and rooted in God. Those are the people you want to stay around. But if they're not going anywhere and they won't get out in the community and travel and get the word out through social media, and they're just still stuck in their era from the 1940s and 50s and 60s, no. God said greater works we would do in generations, as generations thrive, as they emerge. God has better for you. This is your word today. Have a good day.